You face up to the basket, or if you're posting up, you're going to take a look over your shoulder. You're not going to go right away, because what if a double team comes and you're in the middle of a move? What's going to happen to the ball? Guard's going to slap it away. When you face up from the perimeter, same principles apply. 3 seconds of poise, because you want to face up. Where's the defender? If they're arm's length away, they don't want you to shoot. You go down and jab and attack them. They don't back up. Now you're making a decision. You take off. If they do back up, you're making a decision to come back with a step back and shoot. 3 seconds of poise. It's the hardest thing for a basketball player to learn. It requires maturity, it requires practice, and it requires repetition thousands and thousands of times, so that when you get in a game situation, you're running up and down the court, you have to jump, stop, pivot, face the basket, or post up, you have enough maturity and experience to take your time. Now, one thing you ought to know is the best players in the NBA take their time when they have the ball in their hand, don't they? What do the centers, the good low post scorers, all do? Catch it. What are they doing? They're looking. They're reading. Where's the double teams? Who's open? Here comes the double team from the far wing. Boom. They kick it out, catch and shoot. Bam. Three-pointer. 3 seconds of poise. Most important thing about a scorer. A scorer is not a selfish player. They just want to win. How do you know they want to win? Because they're the players that have spent thousands of countless hours in the gym working on scoring moves. That's how you know they want to win. When losing hurts you enough to make you go and practice, then you know you're a player. When you guys lost at 1-on-1 today, how many spent extra practice time in the gym? Don't raise your hand. I know who was there. When losing hurts you enough to make you go and practice, then you know you're a player. Some of you players have aspirations of playing Division I or of just playing college basketball. You don't need to raise your hand. You don't need to answer the question. But we told you earlier, if you're not putting in at least 2 hours of skill work a day, minimum, Disneyland will not make your wish come true. Nobody can but you. You know scorers want to win because they put the time in. That's why. We've talked to you all week about how to call for the ball, when to call for the ball. Scorers call for the ball. On the fast break, trail right, trail left. They're busting their tail to get ahead of the ball because they know it's an easy basket. You have to verbalize that you want the ball in your hand, because sometimes your teammates dribble with their eyes down, they don't see it. Or they might have somebody in tight on them on defense and they don't see you, but they'll see you for a split second if you let them know you're there. So scorers call for the ball. They know how to create contact and they like the contact. They know how to deal with it. You drive into the basket, you're posting up. They know how to create contact to get to the free throw line, and they like contact. Scorers know how to create shots for themselves and their teammates. It's the highest level of basketball because you're a creator. You know, we talked about this earlier. You have players, shooters, you can have low post scorers, and the really special ones are creators. This is the ultimate right here. It means you can create a shot for yourself and your teammates every time you touch the ball. John Wooden said if he had a player that could create a shot for themselves or their teammates every time they touch the ball, that would be his offense. No plays, that would be his offense. That's a pretty special player, isn't it?
but also, and I found this because I've had a couple scorers that didn't do this, was that they have to work hard in other areas of the game to maintain the respect of the rest of their teammates.
Often their offense picks up a notch when their defensive intensity is higher. Doesn't mean they have to kill themselves, it just means they're working at it. These are guys that, these are players that want to win the game. They have good defensive skills and intelligence. Why do they have to have good skills and intelligence? Why do you think?
To know what's going on.
To know what's going on in part, but more importantly, if they're not intelligent defensive players, what kind of trouble do they end up in? Foul trouble. They don't want to be in foul trouble. They don't want you to score easily either. They want to stop you, but they don't make stupid fouls. They're intense, they're aggressive physically, they stay on their feet. They don't make a lot of stupid fouls because they want to stay in the game. They recognize the difference between losing a battle once in a while, if you score occasionally, and losing the war. And they know they need to be in the game in order to win the war. They're very good at holding their opponents under the normal points per game. They tend to be a verbal leader on defense. So either by giving verbal commands or yelling at you to turn up your effort a notch. That's what they're after. They tend to be verbal leaders. Scorers aren't typically going to be always the best defender on the team. In Jordan's case, he was. Now, part of the reason for that is he was just a phenomenal athlete, but he also took great pride in it. You combine the pride he had on defense with his athletic prowess, and it was a great combination. Larry Bird, on the other hand, individually was not a great individual defender, but he was a great team defender, which was how he made up for his weaknesses. Everybody in the league always talked about how Larry Bird could make the big play on defense when they needed it, whether it was a rebound or a steal in the passing lane, because he had great anticipation. So his physical skills, Bird's physical skills were limited, but yet he still, because of his drive to win, found a way to make big plays.
He was the kind of kid that I told him, you go to the glass, you get everything off the glass. And he was a great jumper. He played up around the white square. And we would get the ball down to him. He had 2 or 3 post moves. That's all he needed. He didn't need any more. Just 2 or 3, and he could score for us. And we'd get the ball down to him.
They'll rebound as needed, which means they're going to do their job. They're not going to give up easy rebounds. If they know the team needs a rebound, they're going to go find a way to get one on the offensive end. They don't give up offensive boards. They take it as a personal insult if you get one. And it just fires them up more. Always box out so that your teammates know, because a lot of players aren't very good at maintaining sight on the ball and their opponent, is communicate. Yell it out. Shot. That's one of your responsibilities.
We get some guys sometimes, they can put the ball on the floor. They know how to get fouled. Do you ever have anybody like that? They know how to get fouled. I had one guy made 74 free throws in a row, and that's a national record. He made 74 in a row. He missed one, he made 30 more. And he shot like 96%. He knew how to get fouled. We'd give him the ball in the wing, let him go. One-on-one. He'd either get fouled, he'd step back and shoot the 3, or he'd shoot the short jumper. And if he goes to the foul line, it's money in the bank.